Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the ScouseCast. Today it only looks like I'm joined with John Porter and Foz. It looks like Ant may be feeling a little bit blue after what happened on Saturday. You don't think he's probably showing up?
No, he hasn't. And I'm disappointed in him, to be honest with you, because like you and Scrawny, you have took it like proper men. You know, we spoke on last week's podcast about Liverpool's chances of winning, and obviously you weren't here, Jack, but last week we said that Liverpool had a more than good chance of winning the Champions League, and so it proved he won. And I was expecting a little bit better from Yank, to be honest. You know.
Hashtag where's Yank?
I haven't heard a peep from him.
Now the WhatsApp group's been quiet today. I mean, the three of us have been on. I haven't heard a word from Yank.
Listen, I've got to go, mate. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. Alright, listen, I've got this show to do. Alright, I'll speak to you later. Alright, I'll go. Ta-ra. Sorry, mate, lads. Sorry, I just had Aldo on the phone. You alright?
I'm good, you?
You okay?
Yeah, very well.
What have I missed?
Nothing, we've just been very nice to you, lad.
Oh, okay, I'll watch you back later. I don't believe it's in a second. Okay, so who's opened the show? You? Shot first? Come on.
Stepping up, pulling me weight. Not much on it, like, but...
Well, that's alright. No, just...
You're talking about people pulling the weight on this new
got a lot of weight to pull with these, but... So what are we talking about tonight? I apologise, I said, I just had Aldo on the phone.
Good chat.
Yeah, he's not kicking any cats or pigeons tonight, he said, so everything's good.
Can't block you over the phone,
No, that's true. I asked him why he blocked me on Twitter, he's going to unblock me apparently.
So. Tell everyone what's going on then. Something's obviously gone on. Yeah, you wearing something different.
Oh,
I've just long kicks up.
No, we had this conversation last week. No, I've gone with tracky bottoms this week, so yeah, I've gone with the old Adidas factory. So, do I smell something? You keep moving away.
Just a little, lad. Just something a bit off.
No, fine. Might be fuzz. Might be deodorant. You changed deodorant for?
I haven't. Nivea Cool Kick works wonders.
Is that an advertising thingy?
Well, you know, I'm a Liverpool fan, I've got to advertise Liverpool level products, haven't I? But what the fuck's that you got on?
It's a New Balance t-shirt.
A New Balance t-shirt with the Liverpool crest on, with the
Bearing in mind,
sponsors
Foz is
on
our only bed on the show.
Yeah.
The way he's striving that top. They're still fighting amongst themselves.
We're still, hey, look at that, I wear the Liverpool shirt on the show, we're still offending them, aren't we?
You're not offending me, mate. Listen, let me say, fair play to you.
Bottom line, a better bet.
Yeah. Go. If you make the bet and you lose,
it's done.
Take the consequences.
I've got to give a shout out to my good mate, the Chief Lee O'Brien, for actually having a shirt that didn't fit me. Because I have actually noticed both Everton and Liverpool, when it comes to the shirts now, they really aren't designed for the bigger guy. They're really not. this is big and it's snug on me. But I did for balance, not New Balance, for balance. I did actually go in the Everton shop and see, about their shirt sizes, for what now our last season, Everton's last season's kit. And I think this is Liverpool's last season's. Shirt sizes are snug for bigger fellas. I know they do like player size and fan size shirts now, but for Everton and Liverpool fans out there, if you're a heftier guy like me, you're going to need two and sew them together if you want to be comfortable in them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them kits being sewn together over the past week, wasn't there? There's some weird combinations. There was a Tottenham, Liverpool, Everton, Tottenham, all kinds. I've seen a Chelsea and Arsenal one as well, I think, in the Europa League final. I think somebody was actually, there was a store selling like stitched together tops.
I don't get
out and back in.
I don't get I'm not supporting both teams,
exactly.
Well, you're going there to watch your team win. Why you like? Again, this is not Liverpool and Tottenham half and half Scouse or anything like that. It's in why?
I must admit, I saw some half and half Scouse for the game on Saturday night, and I don't think they realised someone changed the A in Tottenham to a Star of David.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, really? 2019, come on.
No need.
And I don't know, I mentioned it to the guy who was selling them, and he didn't realise he's selling something which is going to be perceived as racist, and he was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, have a look. So, What are we genuinely going to talk about tonight? Is obviously we've got lots to discuss.
Yeah, we've got no guests this evening, so we're just stuck with those four. Got a musician coming in no later at, what is it, 7?
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
7:30.
Yeah, so Carlitos Blues.
Yeah, we've had them before at the Pier Head, it's really good.
We're going to have to change the last, just to be more.
Yeah, Carlito with purple, we'll call them. Yeah,
It's a bit of a mixture.
Or we'll just go full fountain, we'll call them Carlito's way.
Right.
Is the word red? Is it being boycotted tonight?
No.
Is it the word red?
No, we're just
No.
a little wind up.
Yeah.
Just a bit of friendly banter.
Good lad.
It's just banter.
It's just banter.
Not big joke.
Is that why Yank got the red mic shield?
Oh mate,
tonight?
they've gone full rib on me, haven't they? I'm surprised I haven't got the red cable.
I tell you what,
in the
boys,
front.
tonight will be a good start off. Before we went on there, I Foz appeared last minute, week as ever, and he came up with a fantastic idea.
Foz did.
Foz came up with a
Yeah,
fantastic idea.
For the year, wasn't it?
So, it'll build into our first conversational piece here with Foz, explain it to Anthony what you'd explain to us, how it's going to go.
I want to do Foz's fantastic chippy tours, right? I put emphasis on the tours there rather than tips.
We're not talking about Joe Anderson yet.
Foz's fantastic chippy tours, right? So every Tuesday after recording this, I want to leave here and go and try a different chippy in the city on my way home.
Are you paying?
Are we paying?
Are we all going?
Do you want to take a recommendation off us each week? Like,
Yes.
we'll go first week, you'll go into.
Yes.
Okay.
Second week, you'll go into.
And,
Yeah.
and are we going to see the outcome of this? Are we going to see videos,
Well,
photos?
There'll be videos and photos on
We'll be
on the
buying
houses
tickets.
on the houses going social media.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: I won't be buying them snide jeans that Yank wears that aren't jeans but are shorts.
Are you going to see the families made out of this week?
Well, it is.
He's got a chap down, so lots of people off them. Right, before we get to start with Anne's chap down, so chippy to chap down.
Listen, we're already losing followers and viewers as it is because we complain about certain football clubs in the city. So before we lose, people want to see the chat ass.
Back to your Foz's fantastic chip shop tour.
Right. So each week I'll take a recommendation and I'm going to go and try each chippy, and then I'll put posts on social media and reviews of each chippy on social media.
And you're going to be, and in your typical Foz way, you're going to be more Gordon Ramsay, or you're going to be more Nigella. You're going to be nice to them, or you're going to be full on.
No, I'll just
Full on thuggish, you know what I mean? Your chips were shit. Your pie was microwaved, you know what I mean? You're going to start paying.
Listen, you've got to just say it as it is, haven't you?
Yeah.
You know, journalists aren't paid to mince the words, are they? So why would they do it? I'll go in there. I'll have a chips and curry, and if the chips are shite, I'll tell you the chips are shite.
There's one chippy who plugged us a few weeks ago, that Heritage Fish and Chips, wasn't it? But they closed at 7. Apparently we're going up there in a few weeks.
Yeah, we can
Try their big salt and pepper box.
to go pre-show. You can go and have his tea early.
Yes.
Go get one of the big salt and pepper boxes and we can have it while
Like,
the show's
so
on.
while we're on chippies then, obviously we're all people that like chippies. Everyone, it's a little thing, it's a Friday. Fridays for me anyway, I don't know whether it's the same with you, but round in the working class areas, Friday nights with all these chippy eat out nights.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So we've all eaten chippies, and what my question is to you guys is, the first one is, what is the best chippy in Liverpool?
Who's on?
One Foz.
I've only ever been to, like, it's very rare that I change my chippy, you see. I go to like, if I'm gonna go to chippy, I'll go to like it's called the Water Lily in Bolton. It's really nice, and I can recommend a sausage dinner, no gravy.
What's a sausage dinner then?
Why?
That's
So
not
like, you can
Why?
have sausage
That's
chips,
just
you have
sausage
peas in it as well.
Sausage
so-
chips and peas.
Oh, right, okay, I can
No,
deal with
I'm
that with
not-
the
I'm
peas.
It's gonna gravy like
Yeah, you
I'm
can. I'm
not
not feeling gravy.
I'm
myself.
not feeling gravy.
Okay.
I'm not a sauce man.
Go on then, Jack.
There's two, and it's a toss up between both of them. It's a difficult decision. It's either Steve's or Chris's. And and
Is that
Who do you like more?
Like you don't.
This or Steve?
no, they're both sound. Both decent guys. I don't know. Steve's.
And where's Steve's chippy? For everyone watching, give it a little
Free
bit of plug.
advertising.
We'll be sending some free chips.
You'll have Chris on the phone then.
I get the locations of the two mixed up. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'll be on the same page. You know what this is. That's no
Saying I'm fat. Right, I've had the shit fashion joke gag already. Now I'm getting the fat one. Come on, let's get it all out the way.
Steve's, I believe, is in Egworth by the Dip, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah,
yes,
it
is. And Chris's is what Froze like
by the Rose
by
and
the Rose and Moss.
normally that's decent after you've had a couple of beers in the Rose and Mossy. Like
they're both top chippies, both fish and chips. Stunning, man.
good shot, like.
Great job. But
Right,
if you're going to be eating fish and chips in Bootle, where are you going?
It's called Top Lock Mars Lane in Bootle. That chippy's been going since I can remember, you know what I mean? It's been took over, but it maintained its standards, never known it to happen. There's another one up the road called, used to be called a fingernail chippy, obviously the answer's in the statement, but that was a chippy that's been there, which baffles me anyway, but off subject, I'll probably talk about that one point down the line, but yeah, Top Lock Mars Lane, I'd highly recommend anyone going down there.
Big decent shot on it.
No fingernails in that, no.
Definitely not toenails if you want them, but you can have them either deep fried or salt and peppered.
Oh, something's up its own.
Let it tip with your toenail. But I'm going to flip a second question. Okay.
In Liverpool, it's an absolute no-brainer for me. It's Chews on Park Road, locally known as Gene and Albert. Best spring rolls on the planet, bar none. I normally go fish and chips and a carton of curry from there. But that's the rugby fan in me, split fish and curry, you know what I mean? Spring rolls are absolutely to die for. Place has been there forever. I know the younger lads who run it. So, you know, they, again, like Scouse said about Top Lock, it's, you know, second generation days, you know, families had that place forever.
Yeah.
So let me throw an asterisk again. Yank loves a freebie.
Hang on, don't we all like a freebie?
We all like a freebie.
Yeah, so just don't believe it.
Foz loves a freebie
No,
more than
yeah,
anybody.
That's why Foz is starting his Foz is fantastic chippy little run. He's open to plug it enough when he turns up. They're like, oh, it's Foz is fantastic.
Jack's all over it. Jack knows.
I'll be following.
Jack knows the score.
Hey,
Jack knows the score.
Notice how we said the fat boy likes a freebie, you know what I mean? Scott, where are you going to follow up with that then, mate?
So I was going to ask the next question while we were on the chippy lark was, what actually defined a chippy to you? So you were in another town somewhere, Foz travels quite a lot in his car covering boxing shows. So if you were going out of town somewhere in a chippy, what for you defined, what makes a chippy the best?
Well, a chippy...
So just to give you an example, I think a chips defines a chippy. If you can't make good chips, then I can't see you making anything else nice.
Yeah, it's not a chippy if it makes shit chips.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it'll be called a fucking fishy or a sausage or a fish cake.
So that's Foz's porn I want to say, because I was married to someone who didn't live in Liverpool, and one of the things that she noticed and her family noticed when they came down to visit was in Sheffield there's a chippy I like called Tony's in Bacon, and it's an English chippy. They don't do Chinese meals. It's fish and chips, fish cake and chips, sausage dinners, and a bag of scraps.
With or without gravy.
Whatever you want. Well, it's with gravy traditionally, but
I'm not feeling it.
and the one thing they do there is something called scraps. I don't know anywhere around here that does it. And if you don't know what scraps are, you know the batter ends off fish and fish cakes and that. You literally gather them all up, put them in the thing, and you can buy a bag of scraps with salt and vinegar on.
The crispy bits.
Yeah, the crispy bits. And whenever, well, I haven't. No, Tony's in Bacon. If you look, fish cake and chips with a bag of scraps.
I'm gonna have to go to Tony's in Bacon because it sounds superb.
But yeah, they said. I mean, a lot of chippies here are Chinese chippies, whereas they just, you know, up there a Chinese takeaway doesn't do fish and chips, doesn't do sausage dinners. They are still separate entities, whereas here in Liverpool I think that again the culture, we've merged them into one, into one unit. You know what I mean? So it's a Chinese chippy. It does meals. So for
I
me,
remember chipping myself down in London. Went down to London one day with work and I walked into a chippy and he asked for chips and gravy. And the woman looked at me like it was farted in the hand and thrown it out. Like goes, how you can do it a fart, you know what I mean? Like, I only asked for gravy, love, you know what I mean? She's looking at me like, what is this thing you speak of?
I got London's still the place that does jelly deals in eel.
I've had jelly deals though. I've had jelly deals. Disgusting.
You're a brave man.
Well, it was going back a bit.
You didn't mean you, I've got a mate at home called Jerry Eel. He wasn't on about you, mate. Sorry, Jerry, didn't mean you.
Yeah, but back in 2008, FA Cup semi-final, Everton v United. Went stayed down with my dad's mates down in London before the game. We wake up the next day, treating us to like a typical London scram and that.
Oh, yeah, mesh and jelly deals, Gavin.
It was like 9 o'clock in the morning, all on the aisle. He was putting out like jelly deals and that.
Ew.
Mate. Grim.
Never again.
Nah. Do you know what? Do you know the jelly that you get in a pie? Like a pork pie?
Yeah.
Like a gelatin.
Yeah, like the same stuff that's in my cat's food.
Yeah.
That's exact same filth.
This thick all the way around it.
Oh.
Just vile. Grim.
What makes a chippy for you then, Scott?
It's got to be the
chips.
It's
got to be the chips all day.
Nail down chips for me. I mean, as I say, I've been to a lot of chippies and the chips were absolutely disgusting, whether they've been reheated, slimy, dripping, but for me, it's got to be a nice batch of chips. Fresh out there.
Normal chips, salt, pepper chips.
Oh, salt vinegar all over them. No, normal chips.
What about the old, because obviously Liverpool now seems to have this fad with salt, pepper, everything, doesn't it?
I don't get me wrong, I do like a bit of salt and pepper on my food, and I cook quite a lot, so I've got my own little seasoning cupboard in the house where I have all the different flavours. I'm a man of the world, me.
Yeah, no, when you pick me to the chip, bingo, into the L8 with a little trip to the L224 now and again as well. But what about like actual peppers and onions and that on the chip? You know, when you see some chippies do salt and pepper chips, salt and pepper ribs.
Yeah,
you're all good with.
All day long.
All good with proper peppers and
but sometimes
and
it's just basic, straight on, nice portion of chips, not sweaty. You know what I mean?
Red salt as well, or
no, just normal salt. Normal salt, loads of that vinegar. Chippy, and another one. Doesn't chippy vinegar always taste nicer than the vinegar you'd have in your cupboard?
Yeah, even though it's exactly the same sauce and malt vinegar, it's
like the tomato ketchup and that they have in like the red.
The red and brown things in a cafe.
They taste well better than Heinz.
Probably because they've been sat out for all day.
I'm going to leave my ketchup in the sun.
It might just be like that all evening. You know, the air getting to the vinegar, like we bought a spot on with the vinegar shout. It does something. Does something, lads. You know what, let's stop doing that tank now. I'm all ready for a team.
Paul's trying to start your thing now, lad. You head over the chip and bring us something back and we'll review it live.
One just before we move on. What's the obsession with these salt and pepper boxes?
I think it's fads that come along all the time. One person with a bit of influence says eating. So if Kim Kardashian was eating salt and pepper dog shit, I guarantee there'll be a fashion of girls following the chihuahuas around the parks with a plate of salt and pepper.
That's why I must admit, that's why I wanted to bounce up to that heritage.
The salt and pepper dog shit.
No, but you see a lot on their Instagram story, the salt and pepper. It's
salt and pepper dog shit.
It's basically like a pizza box just full of like, you know, the chips and kebab meat and fish in there, you know. I reckon
it's pure hand.
I don't know what you three are having.
Food challenge on the horizon.
I don't know what you three are having, like, but
there we go. We'll have something between all four of us. We'll go down and visit somewhere that does them all. We'll have a time competition, record it, and let's see who can nail the food box.
Here's what I want to know. What's on your kebab? If you're going to buy a kebab from a chippy,
I can tell you
right
now, specifically exactly.
Go on.
Lettuce, tomato, onion, and a little bit of chilli sauce. Bumf.
Are you a mixed sort of man? Are you a chicken? Are you a lamb? Or are you a doner?
I don't know, I like it all. By ours, they do a special, which has the shisha and all that in it.
Or are you just a prima donna?
Yeah.
Scone Monday to Friday.
More marathoner than prima donna, me lads.
Jack? Go.
Yeah.
Nah,
Get out.
not a fan of the kebab from the chickies.
Why?
No, it's never happened.
No?
No. Not even when I've been smashed and I've been like stumbling on I'd rather go and get a burger or something or a pizza.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Donna, lettuce, cucumber.
Oh, you like Donna, don't you?
Well,
You like Donna, don't you?
I was married to one for long enough.
Well,
But anyway, moving on. Talking about the actual food. Lettuce, cucumber.
yeah.
Either chili or what's that other one? Tahini. Yeah. And the tahini sauce, like definitely.
I'm a mixed kind of man, right? Gotta have a bit of everything, yeah? No tomatoes, every other bit of salad on
Bit
the
of
planet.
everything but no tomatoes. Like.
Every other bit of salad on the planet bar
Tomato
tomatoes and a sweet chili, garlic mayo and tahini sauce.
Sweet. Should we move on? We've got loads to get to, haven't we?
We've got quite a lot to discuss. A lot more to discuss.
Okay. Who's
Whose topics over next then?
got the list? What's
Well,
on the list?
I've done mine.
Yours the kebab topic, I don't know if that was fantastic fish wraps. I like
Go on, Jay.
Am I carrying on now?
Yeah, cool.
But you've got a couple of football things. I read something very interesting today on Twitter. It's a study that's been carried out by Stanford University, and I've wrote down what they've put here, and I just wanted to get the three of your opinions on it. Stanford University study has found significant drops in Islamophobic behaviour in Liverpool since Mo Salah joined the club. Their study shows that there's a 19% drop in Merseyside hate crimes and a 50% reduction of anti-Muslim tweets from Liverpool fans since 2017. Now, the way I look at it is fantastic. If this man can come over here, play for Liverpool, and just by kicking a ball between three sticks can start to educate people, because it's not just Liverpool fans. Even though the tweet that I read mentioned Liverpool fans, it's not just them who are writing and saying these Islamophobic things. It's people in the city, but it shouldn't really take our footballer for people to understand and tweeting shite here.
Exactly, yeah. I'm in wholehearted agreement with you.
The man, as an Everton fan, Mo Salah deserves all the respect for being just a genuine human being. Some of the stuff that you've seen him do, where there was, I believe, was it last year, there was a story about somebody broke into his house, and instead of getting him arrested, he gave them a job.
Yeah.
And there was thing he paid for.
Went to rehab and stuff like that.
And he's done stuff for his back in his hometown of Egypt. He's put a lot of money into that now. As a human being, he's a great human being. As a footballer, he's an amazing footballer. We can't deny that. But like I said before, it shouldn't take somebody's football ability to turn around to people and be like, yeah, look, I'm a Muslim, but I'm just like you. I can score goals like Fernando Torres has. I can score and it's like say it's good. It's definitely positive.
I think it's a society issue that's spelled into everything. Like it's easy for people to say, well, football's got a bad issue with it. But you look boxing got quite a bit of a lot of Islamophobic towards on the account.
Yeah.
You know, the guy was hated because of his ethnicity more than his ability. You know, and it's driven around a mass. It's learned behaviour, but people being told that that's how it is. You know, people tell you that you can't do things growing up, so you learn a lot of your life lessons on the streets with the people you hang around with, the people you surround yourself with, whether it's friends, family. Now, if you're looking at it now, maybe people who were supporting Liverpool couldn't identify with somebody of Muslim faith that Salah was. Now all of a sudden, they've now got somebody that they idolise, they cherish, they love. Their views have changed, and that's what it is. I think it's opening people's eyes, introducing people, and I think that's where a lot of communities in Liverpool, you have like Chinatown, you have a lot of like the Polish community, and there's a lot of segregation within the city that we mix really well, but there's still a lot of little mini cities based around and society are all clumping together, and it's just a case of let's just knock all the walls down, let's knock all these doors down, and that's everyone just fucking mix. You've got two types in my world. I don't judge anyone by the taste, the likes, looks, anything. There's two types of people in this world. There's good people and there's arseholes, and judge them by that standard, and that's what I always do. I always judge people at that standard. If you're an arsehole, I don't care if you've got 6 legs, 1 leg, 9 ears or no teeth. Doesn't matter to me. You're a nice person or you're an arsehole, and you know. But I think the figures speak a lot. I think the figures, but it's good. The fact that the positive is a decrease in an activity of criminal activity that's gone on.
What I will say is, I touched on a point even there about education, is there's going to be a lot of young children now who are growing up in Liverpool. Again, as Liverpool fans and Everton fans, I'm not saying that you can't look up to
You guys have brought loads. I've got like 2 or 3 things I'm going to go plough through the set on it.
But as a man, as a person, for what he can do for a community, for a race, to make them feel maybe less afraid to go mix with people, because they believe that, because of my faith, because of where I'm from, I'm going to be subject to hate crimes, things like that. And hopefully there can be a lot of children in the city, be blue, be red, be impartial to whatever, who can look at him and be like, I would like to be like him, and take out the fact that he's a Muslim, and just be like, he's a genuine human being who people can actually have in football and be like, he's a role model. Because there is, unfortunately to this day, there are very few in any sport really, but someone like that, if can do it, then it's a big message for everybody else.
I mean, that's it. I mean, for me, there's so much I can relate to being an Everton fan in the 80s. And all I've just got to say is 2 words: John Barnes. That man took more shit off the Goodison Park terraces in the 80s than any player I think I know. Now I know it's a whole different world now, and people hide behind the keyboards, hide behind the social media accounts, you know, and they can be an egg on Twitter or whatever they want to be. And you know, I've always gone by the belief that it ain't a race thing, it ain't a colour thing. If you don't like me, you don't like me. If I don't like you, I don't like you. It's not down to your race, it's not down to your colour, it's just we don't get on. There's 7 billion people on the planet, you're not going to get on with everyone, you're not going to like everyone. But you know, Mo Salah's a human being and a role model. Could have hid behind that and just stepped, and you know, but he's stepped up and he's showing. I mean, it took Everton signing black players for that thing to change at Goodison. You know, but it's in all walks of life. I mean,
even then, there's the Kevin Campbell song.
Yeah.
But even as far back into the 60s, we had the playing in the 60s.
Shabilko scored 2 goals in the 66 cup final.
I remember my granddad telling me a song that the Everton fans used to sing to him, and obviously I'm not going to hear it myself, even like the way that was in it, but obviously it was the N-words, as people were saying. It was a song that Everton sang about him in the 60s, being the first black player to play for Everton. It was the chant from the crowd.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It is. I mean, I live in Torquay, and what Scott was saying about in this area, you know, you've got almost unintentional segregation. You've got a Somali community who live just off they live all around the Princess Drive area and Princess Road area. They've got the Somali Association there. You've got the Granby Street community. You know, they kind of live the other side, and this side's predominantly white. It's not meant to be like that, but it's just become that way. I mean, I remember hearing stories about when my granddad was alive, and his brother had a bloody cat that was called a racial name. So he'd be going out the street shouting this in the street. So we're not talking, you know, racism stopped being acceptable 10 years ago, or homophobia or Islamophobia or anything like that. You know, this was still acceptable in the 50s and the 60s. So, you know, we're here now. And I think we're getting to a point now where we might be the first generation who are listening to the younger ones who are saying enough is enough.
I disagree with that. I would disagree. Okay. I genuinely think we're not moving forwards. Do
you think we're as intolerant as our parents and our grandparents and so on were?
I would say yes. Yeah, I do think so. Yeah, but all you have to do is look at the political climate at the minute, and I don't want to touch too far into politics and things like that. But I think I don't think there's been a progression in the reduction of racism towards people when and even going back to football, when you've got BT Sport, I believe it was after the Champions League final on Saturday, had a film on regarding racism still in football. It's 2019, boys. Like,
I'm not saying it's eradicated. I was asking, is the problem decreasing?
No,
it's still as bad as ever. You think?
I haven't got figures in front of me. Maybe John, if on the laptop there, I don't know. Maybe if he can pull some up. But the way we've got in America, we have a president who one of his first statements was he wanted to ban all Muslims coming into America, regardless of whether they were deemed dangerous or not. It was all. And I watched an interview with Sadiq Khan before it came out, and he said that Donald Trump would have made an exception for him, and he was like, I don't want to be an exception. It's I mean, all or not, because he said he's not exceptional. He's not an exceptional.
But that's what I mean. But I mean, Donald Trump's in the 70s now. You've got a female MP over there. I'm not even going to name her, but she's in her late 60s, early 70s. She's turning around saying, you know, if we can get pills for this, that, and the other, we can. You know, science and pills can cure homophobia. You know, and they're in the 60s, 70s. Go
well, I've just got a little thing that's just popped up. I've got some stats up. It's got a kick it out revealed 11% rise in reports of discriminatory abuse of football matches in 2017 to 2019 compared to previous seasons. Saying the 6th year in a row, the number of incidents reported abuse had risen to 520 reports. So it's saying here from.
If we can take football as like a microcosm of society, if we can take it as a microcosm of society, because everybody, like, you have every type of person who goes to a game of football. So if we'll take this with a pinch of salt. Like, but as John saying there, it is still an issue. It's not an issue that's reducing. And again, touching on politics very, very slightly, with the way that certain votes have gone recently and over the past few years, the people who had maybe quietened down, not changed their views, had just got quieter about them, have felt that they are now in a society where they can be more vocal. They have more. The small majority of idiots who say these things have probably got more people standing in places of power, agreeing with what they think, maybe on the outside, and I definitely say on the inside.
Okay.
And when you've got that, how is it ever going to reduce?
For me, what I find an issue at the minute now is a lazy backup model of people trying to compare racism being caused by Brexit and politics. There was an interview where you've seen it, Carla, who was on Good Morning Britain with Piers Morgan, and the whole interview was based around racism, and Carl was quite he was a well-spoken guy. He was well educated but he was talking about how the portrayal of race was being pushed out by the media. For me, the biggest push out of all this and the biggest build-up of all is the media. The media caused it. And now Carl was making a point of, okay, he made a point of saying in London, which most people would say the highest death rate in the world, in the UK is London. Well, actually it's not, it's Glasgow. So there's more people killed in Glasgow, which are mainly white guys, but the media are picking up on black kids stabbed in London, black kids stabbed in London, another black kid stabbed another black kid, but they're not covering it from a covered view.
So I've got to admit that doesn't annoy me.
Glasgow, as I say, Glasgow has a higher rate, and he made the point then to Piers Morgan saying, right, okay, you look at me, I'm a black guy, so you're saying to me I've got a higher rate of being a victim or a perpetrator of knife crime. He said, but now I'm looking at you, the majority of paedophiles are guys in the 50s, white. Am I looking at you saying you're a higher rate of being a paedophile than me? But we're not covering that in the media, calling it a white paedophile.
I must admit, I've never understood that. When a kid is killed, why is his colour or his religion?
Exactly.
And in the again, I was going to say then just by force of habit, if someone's Indian or Pakistani or Sri Lankan, you know, the immediate thing, it's not where they came from. They're a Muslim. They brought, you know, for those communities, it's religion brought up. Why is it when we say it's a kid stab, I mean, there you go. You've got.
It shouldn't matter who it is.
No,
right?
but the media do it. I've never seen the media yet turn around and go, white kid stabbed.
No, I agree. But
so do it for all or do it for none.
No, I agree. It's a one rule for one and one rule for the other mentality.
Well, I'm going to ask you then. You work in the media,
yeah,
right? Is this something that's sent down from higher ups? Is this something that you can even discuss? Because somebody somewhere must turn around and say, you haven't put this bit in it. I know you work in sport, but you work in an office where people do cover politics, do cover current affairs. Is this something that comes down from editors down? Say like someone will write an article, again, kid stabbed in Toxteth, yeah. And will the editor read that and go, well, you never put black kid in there? Put black kid in, it sells more papers, it gets more clickbaits.
No, that
is there a directive, or is it just something that journalists now have it ingrained?
That won't be discussed. It's an ingrained thing. However, you touched upon something with what you said there. There is sadly, and I say sadly as strongly as possible, spot on, and that is the sticking black teen, however old, killed in whatever type of attack, sells more papers than a kid being killed in Liverpool.
Exactly. So as it just touched on then, every time you see an article, it was in the paper, Caucasian male, age 50, called paedophile. That's then stereotyping that. That's building up the mindset that the white is the emphasis rather than the paedophile, which is what's the issue. And the same with racism.
It's institutionalised racism. Is what it is. And
totally agree.
And
agree.
One thing that Anne said.
You touched the shirt. It's cut its choppers ringing off now.
There was the case that Tommy Robinson got put in jail for covering, where there was a Muslim grooming gang in Rotherham, I believe. So he was covering this to show that this was going on, rightly or wrongly, whatever he did, he was covering it. But what I want to now say is where was his outrage towards Jimmy Savile?
Where's his outrage now over this Bishop Tobin who sent a tweet yesterday?
Why is he not following the church around and the Catholic priests?
That's it. This American priest tweeted saying, why are we celebrating Pride Month across the world? Because this is something that God finds abhorrent and stuff like that. And then he's been rightly shouted down over it. Apparently he's been made to apologise by a few actors. I'm not going to mention wrestling because I was going to. Dave Bautista was one of them because his mum, he was actually a product of a sexual assault, and his mum's gay, and he was product of a sexual assault. So he basically slapped him down all over Twitter, bringing up all this, so saying, basically saying it was my birth, like me being born, disgusting to you and stuff like that. There is so much intolerance. You're absolutely right. I mean, but then I think. How big? For the four of us, we've got our little show here that we do every Tuesday. Is this the type of place then where we should be promoting the good in the world a lot more, and the good in our city, even more than we're trying to do now? Stats like that, it shows that Mo Salah's having a positive influence on this city. All right, because he's wearing a football shirt. So is this something we should look out for more good news stories in the future?
I think it started an example, it set a model now. Obviously, if people who've not had a Muslim influence in their life never met, but you get certain parts of the city now where kids don't go to school with anyone, but there'll just be a full year of white kids still going out. And over the years now, my school I went, there was the whole year, I couldn't say 5 years above 3 years down if there was anyone with white kids in my school. My daughter now goes to the same school I went to, and it's across the board. You've got all different races, religions, creeds in there, and for me, the playground is a happier environment because when we were younger, all the locals were bitch, backbiting and everything, but all the different races and religions and different nationalities that are in the playground, everything just fits in well. Everyone's getting on it. There's a Sri Lankan lady who's friends with a Polish lady who talks to a German fella. There's no problem. So for people to say, well, they're the problem, which proof I'm seeing it every day in my life, that they're more civilised and they're acting in a better manner than what the locals are. The locals are causing the problems. Yet people are told, oh no, it's immigration that's causing this, it's not.
I mean, living around here, I would be absolutely stunned if this community, I didn't hear Somalian voices, Polish voices, Caribbean voices. There's so many, I mean, there's still so many people who came over in the 50s from the West Indies, and there's a massive Caribbean influence still in Liverpool around the Lodge Lane, around here, especially in Lodge Lane. And if I didn't hear those Caribbean voices and stuff like that, it'd be so strange. But should we move on, or is there anything else we want to bring up on this?
If I can do a tedious thing, say trying to bring it back to football.
No, go for it.
It's just covered positives there of Mo Salah and what a brilliant human being that he is. Now I want to bring it over to Everton for a bit, because there's been a couple of bits of news which is broken today, and as I say, we may get a bit of stick for talk about Everton, but so 3 Evertonians, we've got Foz who's our resident Liverpoolian, but he's quite open-minded.
I don't know, he's quite used to this shit, you know.
You can keep that there, Mike. So it's been announced today that Jags will be leaving.
Brilliant servant to the football club.
This is going to...
The second stint at Everton, bear in mind as well.
I'm just gutted he never won a trophy.
This has gone on to my question, and what I said there.
We won, what was it, the Friendship Cup?
Yeah, we won the Friendship Cup against Everton Chile.
Sorry, the Sport Pacer Trophy as well.
Didn't we win something in America one pre-season? Come on.
Player of the Year and stuff like that.
No, I was going to say...
Put that in the... how many senior cups have we won as well?
Was it 45?
Cables have had their thing on that lately, haven't they?
Do we class them as... I'll use this term, a modern day Everton legend?
No. As an Evertonian? No. I can't say for me you can call it, even though he's got great service, because Tony Ibbott had just as much service to the club as Jagielka done. I wouldn't call Tony Ibbott an Everton legends. Jagielka played well in a struggling team under different management styles, but I would say, me personally, I wouldn't say he's an Everton legend because he done nothing legendary to immortalise himself. Like Divock Origi at Liverpool immortalised himself being a super sub and just scored the last minute goal in the Champions League final. He's a Liverpool legend because he's done something legendary. He is poor.
He will be though, but he'll go down.
I'll
David Fairclough, he goes down the super sub of Liverpool from days gone by. He still gets that legendary iconic status of being a super sub. He's immortalised in the club's history.
Cult hero. Because that's what Divock Origi will go down as.
I think he'll go down like a David Fairclough super sub.
So this is what I'm saying. Would you class would Jagielka, for the teams that he's played in at Everton, the sides that we've had, the managers that he played in what?
For me, part of them class. Unsworth and shit, and Biscuit.
For the players that he's played with, for the amount of money that we paid for him. Okay, when we bought him, the transfer fees weren't like they are, but no, he's probably been the best one.
We got him for a steal. We got him for an absolute steal.
He's probably the best centre back I've seen play there.
I mean, the thing is, it's a lot like with the Kevin Campbell situation. Great player, helped us out at the time we needed. And we kind of have this little thing, don't we? I know in America, if you're a governor or a president, you're forever called by that title. You know, when you leave the club. And we still do it with Kevin Campbell. You know, he's referred to a lot. You see people on social media calling him captain. Phil Jagielka will forever be an Everton captain. He was the club captain for so long. Is he a legend? I don't know. I wouldn't.
Would he take cult hero status?
He was club captain. So
Dave
yeah,
Watson at Everton.
I'd say he's a hero because he was club captain.
Dave Watson at Everton didn't probably play as long as Jagielka did.
But he's
he lifted the FA Cup in '95. So for me, he's a legend. He's iconic as part of our...
You've got to lift the trophy, I think.
I think in 30, 40, 50 years time from now, when people are talking back and if Everton do have a bit of success and you talk between the '95 Cup final and say 2025 and we win the league, then people will not remember Jagielka as much as...
Another one then? Because I think this guy will go down long at Leighton Baines.
I think he's in the same boat. I think they put down the same boat.
but as a footballer,
He go down as our greatest left back.
so does
Mate, I'm not being funny. Tag might last long if we can keep over Lucadini.
Yeah.
But at the moment, yeah.
would you keep him, Leighton Baines?
See,
Would you keep him?
but I come from an era where Pat Van den Hal won 2 league titles, an FA Cup and that, and a Cup Winners' Cup.
That's why I said
So
that's why I said
for me it's tough. I mean, cult hero, yeah, club legend.
So so we're gonna we can easily class in like Jags, Cahill, Baines, Arteta, Pienaar
Cult status.
as because that. Unless what are them sort of players who are just going to go down in the Everton history books as players.
Some people regard Cahill as a legend anyway because of what he did for the club. Evertonians, we have this thing about players. We've substituted success in silverware for will they die for the badge, and I do believe that at Goodison now we've. Evertonians as a fan base, we've now gone with a that'll do. Liverpool have just almost won the league, won a 6th European Cup, and they're already talking about next season and what they're going to do next season. And
That's every year,
but why we should be talking about that every year?
but
We're not sat here. Yeah, but we're turning around and going, I'll settle for a cup semi-final. If we have a decent run in the cup. And if we can just finish 6th, we take the piss out of Liverpool fans going, this year's our year and all that. But at the end of the day, they're making finals, they're going on these road trips. The furthest road trip we're going to have this year is Southampton away again. Do you know what I mean? Unless we get Carlisle in round 2 of the League Cup in August, the furthest we're going to Southampton away again. But
Southampton is probably further than Carlisle, to be fair.
But you know what I mean? We're not dusting our passports off again, are we? They're dusting the passports off next year again. We're not. So while they're going on nice little European trips and European weekends away and weeks away, we're sat at home hoping we make Wembley again. The players have been good for the club. They have been great servants for the club. But I'm kind of with Scott on this one. I think you've got to win silverware. You've got to have a winner's medal, and we don't just mean like the Sport Pacer Cup or trophies like that. I mean, God bless them. We won that Sport Pacer Cup. They can play the under-23s in the finals. So Jack can't even get one of those winners' medals.
Okay, then I'm going to play devil's advocate now and to be honest, the question sounds stupid in there before I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So you're going to talk about winning trophies for the club.
Yeah.
So would Morgan Feeney go down as a bigger Everton legend than Phil Jagielka?
No. So we won the reserves.
You did
13 trophies,
trophies for the club.
Yeah, but he could have won trophies at a snooker game before he went to the match, so he could have had more trophies than Feeney, but I'd say, obviously, first team competition, you'd have to win. I know, obviously, within the Everton brand, these under-23s are probably shining better than the under-23s team that we've had in the past. But if you look at last season, Everton's under-23 team had a bigger transfer budget than David Moyes did in his, I think it was 8 seasons. Last season I think Unsworth spent about 8 to 12 million on bringing in
he actually probably pretty much spent more than,
and that was more than David
so
Moyes,
far.
so that shows you how far we've come and at the difference that and how football's evolved basically, because you're now paying for 2 teams. It's technically a B team, and that's what we've sort of built, like a feeder club, but it's our own feeder club. But no, I go back to, as you say, Morgan Feeney. No, I wouldn't, but I get what you mean there. He has one more than Jagielka. He's the most successal Everton captain in the last 30 odd years. You can go down that route. But
the thing is, that might be as good as it gets for Morgan Feeney. Do you know what I mean?
He was a brilliant actor though before he signed for Everton. He was a fantastic actor.
I loved him in the Shawshank.
Brilliant in Batman.
That would be As a Liverpoolian then, Foz, what would you say?
Leighton Baines got a cracking hairdo. He's been a top player for Everton, as has Jagielka. I think they both deserve more credit than what fans of football in general and Everton fans have given them over the years.
I don't think either of them have had as much flack as a lot of players.
Well, what World Cup was it, lad, that we spoke about, where they were sort of, where Baines and that were made the scapegoat.
Yeah,
where
but-
do we think out the group stage?
But by us though, it wasn't by that. It wasn't by
it was-
Blues, by the rest
It was
of
the
the
one when
media.
we played Italy, wasn't it? It was the World Cup and Balotelli scored against us. What
Yeah.
year was that?
Yeah, we had what did we have? Something like Panama in our group or
Yeah.
something.
14 was that?
I'm not sure, but
Was
yeah,
it
Jags and
Germany, I
Baines were
think,
so
was it?
they were the two. And they were never the same players after that tournament. We never recovered physically or mentally from that tournament. Then both players were never the same players when they come back, because although we didn't have a big scapegoat like we had in the past with Beckham's, it was sort of spoken in certain terms when we were doing the ratings overall. It was seems to have been Jagielka and Baines. And that always goes back to where fans always say, come on, give us a bit of credit in the media, you know what I mean? It wasn't that they were bad. It was the 21 players that weren't listed was also bad. The manager was terrible, you know what I mean? So it was like a mix of everything. But yeah, Jags and Baines, for me, they took that flack from that World Cup, which is unjust, because watching the 3 games leading to it was an atrocious setup anyway. So for them two to take that blame, that affected them as a footballer and their career sort of to a good off in the back of that.
So going across the park then, you know, obviously Liverpool have a lot more success, so what would you regard, I don't know, do as a fan or as a sports journalist, what would you regard modern day Everton legend status to be?
With me fan head on, but not with me Liverpool fan head on. I want to say that both players, as I said before, deserve more credit than what they've had over the years. I think both players have been, as I said at the very start of the conversation, superb servants for the football club. But ultimately, I feel like your cult heroes are like your lads, aren't they? You know what I mean? Are they two of the lads within that football club? Baines, yes. Jagielka's a lot more. He seems a lot more disciplined. And I'm not saying for a second that Leighton Baines isn't disciplined, but Leighton Baines seems to be one that you can have a bit more fun with, whereas Phil Jagielka seems to be very disciplined, down to earth, professional, more professional, comes across a lot more strict than say a Leighton Baines. You know, Leighton Baines loves his music. We've all seen the videos of Baines playing guitar and all that palaver. But modern day cult hero at the football club, I'd have to say yeah for both of them.
Yeah, you did the open. Do you want to see us out for the first half of the show then, kid?
Thank you very much for joining us.
Jack, are you going to give us a song?
What would that voice for £1.50 a
Hello
minute?
Jack, hello Jack, hello Jack.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah, what have we got coming up next?
If you're right, is he on his way?
He may be here, he may be downstairs, we'll
Right.
find out.
We're going to be setting up having a little chat to Carlito's Blues.
I wonder whether he'll be conquering all of Europe.
He's got to stop after 3 songs though.
We'll come back. We've got a couple of little concepts as well. That a blast from the past we want to go through. Some old school stories. And then we'll finish on some boxing with our resident expert, Mr. Elliot Foz.
How long are we giving him? 3 minutes?
I don't know.
2 minutes?
I don't know.
No.
2 minutes and 41 seconds, considering that was how long it took Anthony Joshua to get knocked out in the 7th round.
More to come.
House of Scouse. House of Scouse.
House of Scouse Television.
House of Scouse Television.